The trade deadline for the 2021 MLB season is quickly approaching. At the time of this recording, we are exactly 2 weeks away from that happening. And I just want to mention that we have some breaking news coming from Atlanta as well as New York. The Braves have acquired Jock Peterson. He was actually going to be in today's video, but because it already happened, I decided to replace him with someone else. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. So the Braves, they're proven to be buyers, and the Cubs, obviously, they're sellers. One more thing I want to mention before I talk about the 10 players that could and should be traded before the trade deadline. I want to mention that the Yankees have been confirmed to have 6 positive tests for the you-know-what, including Aaron Judge and Nestor Cortez. Both of those guys have been their best players over the last 2 weeks. The Yankees are almost 10 games back of first place, so if they want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to be buyers. Otherwise, on to 2022. 7 of the 10 players that we're going to talk about in today's video were actually in the All-Star game just a few days ago, so these players will bring significant value to anyone that trades them, and honestly, you need that if you're trading a star player. You want as much in return as you can possibly get. I mean, when the Rockies traded away Nolan Arenado and $50 million, yeah, Austin Gomber has been pretty good, but that's pretty much all they got. The first trade I want to talk about, this is coming from my own team, Cleveland. We will be trading Ernie Clement. He is a superstar MVP winner in the making for Shohei Ohtani.
Shut up, bitch!
Now, on a serious note, let's go ahead and talk about the first player that I do think will get traded, but maybe not in 2021 because the GM, he's living in fantasy land. He doesn't understand that the Rockies are not going to be able to compete with the Padres, the Giants, or the Dodgers for at least the next 4 or 5 years, and he says that the Rockies are not a farm system for the other teams in baseball. Hey, I can tell you this right now as a Cleveland fan, both of our teams, the Rockies and the Cleveland baseball team, are known for not being able to re-sign their best players. Matt Holliday, Francisco Lindor, I mean, everyone leaves our teams. It's fine. We are small market teams. Don't get offended. But in my opinion, I truly believe that Trevor Story should get traded considering he is a free agent after the season. They are going to have to give him $25 to $30 million a year. That's how good Trevor Story has been over the last few seasons. And to me, this is a perfect time to trade him because he can always come back if he wants to. But Oakland, they need a shortstop desperately. They have the 3rd worst shortstop production in all of Major League Baseball. So Oakland, they are competing heavily with the Houston Astros for first place in that division. If the Oakland A's somehow are able to get Trevor Story and move on from Elvis Andrus, they could very well be a first place team. Let's go ahead and talk about my friend Joey Gallo. You guys saw him in the thumbnail, and everyone has been talking about this guy since he was in the home run derby. He was selected to his 2nd All-Star team, and he went on a tear, hitting 10 home runs in 10 games, and the cherry on top, Joey Gallo is a free agent. So the Rangers, there is no better time to trade Joey Gallo than right now because of the hot streak. He's a 2-time All-Star, he's a Gold Glove winner, and he's a free agent, so he is going to command a ton of dollars after this season, and the Rangers are in a rebuild, so it doesn't make sense to keep him. The Yankees currently right now have the 4th worst outfield rating in all of Major League Baseball, so it would make sense to get a guy with a 923 OPS and Gold Glove defense, and also someone who can pull the ball to the short porch and right field of Yankee Stadium. He is a perfect fit. Yes, he strikes out a lot, but he's Joey Gallo. He's going to play good defense. He actually runs fairly well for a big guy, and he hits 575-foot home runs. He is a perfect fit in New York. The only other team that I can think of that would be able to use Joey Gallo on a consistent basis and take advantage of his skill set, the San Diego Padres, and I say that because they most likely won't re-sign him, but if they want to get over the hump and beat the Dodgers and reclaim first place maybe over the Giants, they're going to need a big-time power bat, someone that plays good defense, and honestly, I would love to see Fernando Tatis Jr., Joey Gallo, Manny Machado, a 1-2-3 punch, Jake Cronenworth, Trent Grisham. That would be so good for baseball. Moving on over to another Vegas kid, we have Kris Bryant, who just like the other 2 guys that we've talked about, is a free agent after this season, and 2 teams that I really think would benefit from having his services. We have the New York Mets. Obviously, every single Mets fan and their mother have been talking about trading for him over the last 2 or 3 years, which would be kind of unfair because that means they would have gotten Francisco Lindor and Kris Bryant in trades. I mean, the left side of that infield will be disgusting. If we're not talking about the Mets, I truly feel like the Brewers could benefit. Although Luis Urias has been playing pretty good offensively, he is not good defensively over at third base. So maybe you could use him as a utility guy, put him at second base, put him in left field, all that different stuff. Or maybe you put Kris Bryant in left field, center field, right field. His favorite position to play is actually center field. If you didn't know that, now you do. So we've talked about Trevor Story, Joey Gallo, and Kris Bryant. So 3 position players. Let's talk about a pitcher, Danny Duffy. The Royals, they started off 2021 on a hot streak. I honestly thought that they were going to be much better, but they faded into kind of oblivion, and they are far from making the playoffs. So Danny Duffy, who has a 2.53 ERA and has been pretty good since the beginning of 2020, he's a free agent after the season as well. It is a perfect time to trade him. His value could not be higher. Two teams that would benefit the most, we have the Cardinals, because Carlos Martinez, he's elite one day and then bad the next two starts. Adam Wainwright, he's an old man, and then you have a bunch of guys on the shelf. So I truly believe that Danny Duffy going to the Cardinals would bolster their playoff chances, although the Brewers have been really good. And another sneaky team, the Tampa Bay Rays. They lost out on Tyler Glasnow. Shane McClanahan, he's been good but not great. In my opinion, considering the track record of Tampa Bay and fixing pitchers, or maybe just taking average pitchers and turning them into superstars, Danny Duffy has the stuff to be elite, and I think the Rays, they can make him so much better. This one is an easy one considering Nelson Cruz is going on 41 or 42 years old. He's a free agent after the season, and he is one of the most complete hitters in all of baseball. Two teams that I believe will be in the running to try and acquire Nelson Cruz. We have the Oakland Athletics, because they rank towards the bottom 10 in terms of designated hitter production, as well as the Chicago White Sox. I mean, they don't have Eloy Jimenez, they don't have Luis Robert. Yes, they will be coming back soon, but if they want to become a cream of the crop team in terms of depth, I think that acquiring Nelson Cruz is their next best option. I just want to mention that pulling this off would be difficult considering the Twins and the White Sox, they're division rivals. Another Rocky that we have to talk about, German Marquez. Now, I'm not sure how likely this is to get done, because German Marquez is going through the same situation as Jose Ramirez of Cleveland. They're both on team-friendly contracts, but Jose, he has been way too good. He's kind of like the heart and soul of Cleveland. If they trade that guy, they're going to lose so many fans. But German Marquez, I really feel like the fans would be okay with him leaving, because he's been so good for so long, and he's on a team-friendly contract until 2024. So if they can trade him right now after his first All-Star appearance, they are going to get a haul in return. And the Angels, they have the pieces to do so, whether it's Joe Adele, whether it's Brandon Marsh, I think that's his last name. It's not Walsh, right? Yeah, Brandon Marsh. They can send a lot of pieces over, and in return, they're getting a second starter right behind Shohei Ohtani, because German is better than Cobb, Heaney, whoever you want to mention in an Angels uniform. If they're a starting pitcher, they're not as good as Mr. German Marquez, unless we're talking about Shohei Ohtani. Another player that is a free agent after the 2021 season, actually every other player that we're going to talk about is a free agent once 2021 comes to a completion. Craig Kimbrell, I think the two best options for him are going to be Philly and Houston. Now, hear me out on Houston, but let's talk about Philly first and foremost, because they do not have a closing pitcher that they can depend on. And if they want to make Bryce Harper happy, they promised him the world, and they've been atrocious ever since that point. They need to go out and get a stud closer, because Archie Bradley, he's hit or miss. We have Jose Alvarado, hit or miss. I think Craig Kimbrell right now would come in and make that team almost twice as good, because that's how bad their bullpen has been, especially at closing games. If the Phillies bullpen actually had a decent closer, in my opinion, they would have had 5 or 6 more wins already on the season. Maybe Craig blows 1 or 2, but they would be competing for first place with the Mets. That's how bad the bullpen has been. Another team that would benefit, the Houston Astros. Aside from Ryan Presley, most of their relievers have not been all that great. So maybe you move Ryan Presley to a long relief, and then you plug in Craig Kimbrell as the top-notch closer. That would be elite, and the Astros would be scary going into the playoffs. Adam Frazier is coming off his first All-Star appearance, so the Pirates, they are in a full rebuild mode. They're not a very good ball club, so the best thing to do would be to offload your 29-year-old second baseman, who is never going to have a trade value as high as it is right now. Two teams that would really want his services, in my opinion. We have the San Francisco Giants. I understand that they have a lot of utility guys, and their second baseman, I think it's, who is it right now? It's not Flores. Is it Donovan Solano? I think both of those guys are pretty good, but Adam Frazier, another lefty bat in that lineup. He plays good defense. I really think that he would be a solid fit in San Francisco, as they are trying to stay in first place for the second half. And then another sneaky team, in my opinion, the Boston Red Sox. Chris Sale is going to be back in the next month or two. They're calling up Jarren Duran today, and if they can get Adam Frazier at second base and just bolster that 1 through 9 lineup, you do not want to mess with them. Eduardo Escobar, his name has been shopped around quite a bit over the last month, and he is also a free agent after the season, so there's almost no chance the Diamondbacks are going to re-sign him. So two teams, again, I really feel like the Yankees could benefit from someone that can play a few different positions. Joey Gallo is a little bit different because he is such a perfect fit in New York that he doesn't have to play, well, actually, he can play third base if he wants to. But either way, let's let's focus on Escobar. I think the Yankees could benefit from him because, again, he is a utility guy. Third base, you have left field, right field, wherever you need him to play. He can even DH from time to time. And also the Chicago White Sox. In my opinion, of any single player that we've talked about today, Eduardo Escobar to the Chicago White Sox makes the most sense. And I think it's going to happen. If I had to put a percentage point, I would say 90% chance that Eduardo Escobar is going to be on the White Sox. And then last but not least, no, we are not going to be talking about Sonny Gray. Everyone is bringing up Gray in trade discussions. And in my opinion, I think that Luis Castillo is going to be the guy that gets shipped because he's only making a couple $1 million and he's a free agent after 2021. So yes, he's probably going to get a $10 to $15 million a year contract once this season ends because in the first 2 months of 2021, he was horrific, the worst starting pitcher in baseball, but over the last 60 days, he has been a monster. So if the San Diego Padres, who surprisingly have not been all that great in terms of starting pitchers, Chris Paddock is and then all the other guys, they have a lot of injuries. Luis Castillo would bolster that rotation. Maybe Mike Clevenger comes back towards the end of the season, which is not likely. Another team, the Tampa Bay Rays. If they can perfect his sinker, because Luis Castillo and his changeup is already the best in baseball, if they can actually increase his spin rate on the sinker or his slider or any other off-speed pitch, he could become one of the 10 to 15 best starters in the American League. And the Rays, I wouldn't want to play them. So that does it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it if you made it all the way until the end. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think any of these players are going to get traded? 7 out of the 10 players were all-stars just a few days ago. And also my Shohei Ohtani for Ernie Clement. I don't think that trade is going to happen. But thank you guys for watching. Stay safe. Catch you guys tomorrow.